is we had some breaking news. They have declared that John Cox has in fact made it through the primary in the 49th district, and in fact he is talking right now. We want to go to that.
We put a businessman in the White House. Let's put a businessman in the governor's mansion, huh? Yes. Well, there's so many people to thank, and of course, this is only the first step to turning around this state and taking back California for all Californians. I first have to thank my lovely wife, Sarah, who has stood at home taking care of our wonderful daughter, Julianne, who's also a future governor, by the way. And I want to say hello, a shout out to my other three older daughters who couldn't be here today, Sarah, Stephanie, and Shannon. I love them as well. And I love all of you, and as well as our campaign staff, Wayne Johnson, our senior strategist, and Tim Rosales, our campaign manager. Tim. Also a shout out to the bearded wonder, Matt Shoup, our communications director. And our fundraiser, Charles Moran. Thank you so much. And you know what? The biggest thank you I'm going to reserve for the voters of California. Thank you. And you know, the voters stood up to the special interests of this state who are trying to take this state down with them. We are not going to let them, are we? You know, the last 6 weeks, the special interest money, the corruptive nature of that was on full display for all Californians. Millions of dollars from special interest billionaires, they were spent on pretty nasty, misleading commercials. And they attacked our campaign, and I'm happy to tell you, they failed, didn't they? Yes. And we saw this repeated across the state in legislative races and congressional races. They wanted to limit the choice to one party. Well, I'm telling you, one party in Sacramento, one party rule in Sacramento is bad enough, but one party elections is just plain un-American. So I want to thank the people of California for standing up against the effort to manipulate our electoral system. And I also want to thank them for sending a message that we want to have a clear choice for the future of California in November. I just talked to Gavin Newsom, but let me just take a moment to send him another message. Mr. Newsom made it clear that he wanted to run against me instead of another Democrat. Well, as I told him in San Jose at the debate, be careful, Mr. Newsom, be careful for what you wish for. Mr. Newsom and his corrupt cronies they did a bunch of ads touting their opposition to the president. Well, let's send him the very first message, and that is, it wasn't Donald Trump who made California the highest tax state in the country. It was Gavin Newsom and the Democrats. It wasn't President Trump who gave us a $52 billion gas tax increase without any reform of Caltrans, one of the most wasteful and inefficient agencies in the country. It wasn't Donald Trump who gave us that gas tax. It was Gavin Newsom, and we're going to repeal that tax in November. It wasn't President Trump that gave us one of the most expensive and failing school systems in the country. This is absolutely criminal to deprive our children of the education they deserve. We know it. The extra tax money that they passed, In Prop 30, it's not going into the classroom. It's going to administrators and pensions. We need to get that money into the classroom, and we need to give our children and our parents the education they deserve. And that includes building more charters and giving parents choice and encouraging homeschooling. And it wasn't Donald Trump who piled on the fees, the taxes, the regulations, the delay that has made our housing the most expensive in the country and given us a serious housing crisis. No, Gavin Newsom, you did that. We are going to cut costs. We are going to repeal and replace CEQA. We are going to cut litigation. And we are going to give people the chance to live in a house that's affordable. And it wasn't Donald Trump that passed the sanctuary state. Gavin, you did that. You're the one that's protecting MS-13. You're the one that's making our communities less safe. The first role of government is to protect the people, and the first act I make is to get rid of this sanctuary state law. We want people to come to this country. We want legal immigrants who are going to help this country get better. And nationally, we are enjoying the lowest unemployment rate among the African American population in our nation's history. That's something to celebrate, and we can thank President Trump. But on your watch, Mr. Newsom, on your watch, California, the Golden State, now has the most people in poverty in the nation, homeless all over our streets. Well, guess what? We're going to grow our economy, we're going to cut the cost of living, and we're going to give people a chance at a real life in California. Mr. Newsom, you've had 8 years, and your party has made a colossal mess of this once golden state. So before you get too comfortable enjoying your partisan registration advantage, you might want to ask yourself a few questions. How many hardworking Californians can't afford a roof over their head tonight? How many hardworking Californians are going to be forced to choose between buying groceries or filling up their tank on the way to work? And how many California parents will send their children to failing schools tomorrow morning with no hope in sight? And how many Californians are sick and tired of poll-tested sound bites and are looking for someone who will simply get in there, roll up their sleeves, and fix California like I will? Trust me, Gavin, trust me on this one. The number is way more than 51%, and that's what I'm going to get in November. You know, we're going to have a real choice in November. We can continue the status quo, which is what Gavin Newsom represents, with high taxes, homeless on the streets, bad roads, mismanaged schools, mismanaged water supplies, mismanaged forests. Or we can go to a businessman who's had a 40-year career of delivering results, who will cut taxes, eliminate waste, and deliver results that matter with quality, efficiency, and integrity. We're going to give the voters of this state a real choice. We're going to give this state a race they deserve. It's going to be serious, it's going to be substantive, and importantly, it's going to be civil. Let me tell you, business people have been elected to office as governor all across this nation to clean up the messes that the politicians have made. 19 states now have governors who were businessmen. And many of them were elected in their first elected office. And you know what? They're the most popular governors in the country. And you know why? And by the way, they represent a lot of blue states like Maryland, Massachusetts, and Michigan. And they're popular because they deliver results. They're not there to get a partisan advantage. They're not there to feed the special interests. They're there to make the quality of life better for the people they represent. Well, you know what? Do you believe that victory is possible in November? Yes. Join me in this election. This is not about me. It's about the team we will build to turn this state around, make it affordable, make it livable, make it safe, make it truly a state that we can be proud of. Let's together make California the Golden State once again. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, young man. Thank you.
California governor is set. Lieutenant Governor Gavin Newsom had 34% tonight against the businessman John Cox, and not too far behind at 27%. But in a state as blue as California, we do ask the question to Ruben Barales tonight. With a Democrat and a Republican on the ticket, does the Republican have a chance? Is it over before it begins?
Long odds for the Republican. And what a Republican needs to do is be aggressive and make the issue, tie the problems of the state to the front runner. And that's exactly what John Cox did tonight. Whether it's going to be enough, I don't know. The odds are against him, but it looks like they've got a formula they're working on, making Gavin Newsom the problem, tying him to homelessness, the cost of living, the gas tax.
MS-13.
Right. Yeah,
he's the fault for right out of the Trump playbook, all the way around. All right, let's go back to the studios. Brian Schlonsky. There's a lot of interesting races that are happening all over the nation, so let's check in with him right now. Brian.
Yeah.